it's Jenna and today I'm doing my movie and television show wrap up for the month of August 2018. This month I managed to watch 9 movies and 3 TV shows, which is kind of saying something because this month I actually moved to America, so I had this massive 14.5-hour flight where I could have watched so many movies, and instead pretty much every single movie that I put on I fell asleep to, so I'm not going to include any of those. They were all rewatches though, so if you're interested, I think I rewatched stuff like Greatest Showman, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, something else that came out really recently that I can't remember. Oh, Avengers Infinity War. So just little things like that that I'm not really going to bother including in this video because I slept through them. As always, we're going to start with the TV shows that I watched this month. So the first TV show that I watched was a rewatch, and that was Glee. I watched the first 3 seasons. Well, I watched the first 2 seasons and then I watched the first 16.5 episodes and then I stopped. And the reason I was watching that was because, I don't know, I just all of a sudden was like, I need to rewatch Glee. And the funny thing is, that was before I moved to America, and then as soon as I got to America, I was like, I need to rewatch Glee, and I started from the beginning again. So I've technically watched season 1 twice this month. Not really sure why I did that. Also didn't tell you that I gave Glee a 4 out of 5 stars, and that's because I watched the first 3 seasons. If we'd continued on, the rating definitely would have dropped. The thing that I love the most about Glee is that it's fun, it's musical, the characters are usually fantastic, the plots were just so great. The one thing that I will say is I absolutely adore Quinn in season 1. I think she goes through some real character growth and she's a really nice person, and then we get to season 2 and she just like goes straight back down again. So I like Quinn in season 1 and then I really don't like her again after that. The second TV show that I watched this month was The 100 season 5, and I gave that 5 out of 5 stars. So the thing about The 100 season 5 is I was watching it weekly and then for some reason I stopped. I don't even remember why I stopped because I was really enjoying it, and so I stopped and I went, no, like the season finale just aired, I need to watch all of it. So I went through and I watched all 13 episodes back to back, and wow, just wow, I freaked out. It was such a good season. We really got to see the characters' growth after the 6 years, and we also got to see them learn how to be friends again. You know, they become such tight-knit little groups. You know, we have Clark and Maddie, and then we've got Space Crew who became a real little family, and it's very obvious now that Bellamy's priority is his family, is his Space Crew, and Clark's priority is of course Maddie, her daughter. So they really all just changed so much in those 6 years, and this is where we really got to see it. The actual plot itself was fairly self-explanatory. You know, there was one last green area on Earth and humans are trying to get there, but the thing that I really enjoyed about it is I really enjoyed seeing, I don't know, this is probably my like English brain coming through, but obviously the world ended at the end of season 4. It ended for the second time, which was just heartbreaking and devastating, and these people, the survivors of the human race, now have to repopulate. Well, not repopulate, but they have to keep the human race going. And so when we come back to the ground 6 years later and they're fighting for the last living valley on Earth, it really shows that no matter what, humans are always going to have these same problems. They're still going to fight with each other. They're going to have all these social issues that no one really knows how to deal with. It's the same problems going on and on and on in just a continuous cycle. It doesn't matter how many times the world ends, humans are always going to come back, and humans are always going to cause the same problems that they've already caused. And that's something that I really got in this season, and that's something that I'm really looking forward to see them changing next season. If you've seen the finale, you'll know what I'm talking about. Also, speaking of the finale though, right? So the finale, I won't give any spoilers, but basically the finale kind of ends at like the 30-minute mark, and you just kind of like, everything got resolved, it's all good, and then we have like these 10 minutes left, and I was just sitting there like, what are they gonna do? And I was already pretty emotionally compromised from everything that I just previously seen, because remember, I had watched 13 episodes in a row, and I sobbed those last 10 minutes. If you've seen the show, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that something happens in those last 10 minutes with these 2 characters. I sobbed my little heart out. I literally couldn't deal, and then like the last little minute I just went, I got nothing. I don't know how to cope after this. So such a good season. The one thing that I will say is I think Octavia's time is done, and I would actually like to see her, I mean, I'd kind of like to see her go through a redemption arc, but I think she's too far gone now, so I would really like to see her die next season, which sounds awful. I actually wanted her to die this season, but you know, whatever. Also, Maddie is my new favorite and I love her to pieces. She is my actual favorite, and I'm going to stop talking about the 100 now because I think I've been talking about about it for like 3 minutes. The last TV show that I watched this month was iCarly, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars to. So I didn't watch all of iCarly in this month. I've been watching it over the last couple of months, but this is the month that I finished it, and wow, iCarly is just such a fun story. I loved the characters. I loved the episodes because they were just so random and so hilarious. So if you haven't watched iCarly, I do highly recommend it. It's one of the better Nickelodeon shows because it's one of the older ones, and I just really, really enjoyed it. I don't have much else to say. Alright, so moving on to the movies that I watched this month. The first movie that I watched was a rewatch, and that was The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars to. So The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is just one of those movies that got it right. And I think that's really difficult to say, especially when it comes to like a young adult adaptation. They got it right. They really did. They got this movie correct. They have the characters down packed. The characters themselves are fantastic. The plot is brilliant. The opening of this film really throws you into the action, but also really grounds you in reality and just punches you in the gut basically because it's so sad. But I loved that. I love this story. I really do. It's been years since I watched this movie and I still knew every line, so not sure what that says about me, but it's such a good film. And one of the things that I love the most about it is because I just recently reread the book. There were moments in the book that were really glanced over but were sort of mentioned, and we got to see that in the movie, but we got to see it in a way that didn't feel out of place. It felt like it really belonged, and I just loved it, and I thought that it was really, really brilliant and was done really well. Second movie that I watched this month was The Spy Who Dumped Me, which I also gave 5 out of 5 stars. The thing about this movie is I wasn't expecting it to be so good. So I went to see it with my sister and a couple of friends because I was leaving for America, I think like the following week, and I desperately wanted to see this movie. And when we went, we weren't really sure what to expect. We knew that it was a comedy. We knew that it had Mila Kunis and Kate McKinnon, who are both hilarious, and it had Sam Hewitt in it, so I was super, super happy. But yeah, we didn't really know what to expect, and then we started watching it and we were like, okay, yeah, we can get into this. And then it really got going and we went, oh my god, I'm so stressed out, I don't know what to do. So it was just one of those movies that was really funny but also really stressful. So it felt like a spy movie, but it was a complete comedy, and I absolutely loved it and highly, highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. The third movie that I watched this month was another rewatch, and that was X-Men, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars to. So the next couple of movies that you're going to see are movies that I watched on the weekend leading up to me leaving for America. And I watched some really interesting movies that weekend because I was trying to get my mind off the fact that I was moving to America, because that is terrifying, and it's still kind of terrifying, and I'm already here. So X-Men was one of those movies, and X-Men is just I always forget that it was made so long ago, but you can really tell like when you watch it, like it's not the best film, but it's a really good introduction to the X-Men franchise. It's got Hugh Jackman, who's amazing, and it's just got all these characters that I love and I love to see. So I really enjoy watching it. I think it's an enjoyable film. I think it's a really good introduction to the X-Men franchise, but it's definitely not their best movie. The fourth movie that I watched this month was another rewatch, and that was Journey to the Mysterious Island, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I love the Journey movies. I don't know why. I really, really do. I prefer the second one. I think it's because of Dwayne Johnson. Like he just does those roles really, really well. And I was watching this film while I was packing to leave for America. So once again, I just needed something easy to put on that I really loved. I don't have a lot to say about this film. I really enjoy it. I love the characters. I love the plot. I love how plot convenient it is, if that makes sense. So if you've seen the first one, you'll know that like literally as soon as Sean and Trevor get to the center of the earth, they immediately have to leave because something goes wrong. Like the place is getting too hot for them. The same thing happens in the second one. Like the second they get to the mysterious island, they're like, oh no, it's sinking, we need to leave. Like, could you have timed that any worse? Seriously. So that's like a bit of a plot convenient device that I always find a little annoying, but it's still an enjoyable film and I really, really like watching it. The fifth movie that I watched this month was yet another rewatch, and that was the Spiderwick Chronicles, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars to. I used to watch the Spiderwick Chronicles all the time with my grandmother. It was like the best movie ever. I really, really enjoyed it. You know, I still really enjoy it and I still think it's an amazing film. And just rewatching it, I was just like, oh, it's something that I am always going to remember. It's a movie that I'm always going to love. And I finally read the books, by the way, and the books are actually really enjoyable. So highly recommend that. Highly recommend the film. Also, when I first saw this movie, had no idea that Freddie Highmore was playing both characters. Like, was playing both twins. Didn't realize. Had no idea. And then finally I figured it out and was like, oh. So that's fun. Also, side note, if you've watched Bates Motel, it's really hard to go back and watch Freddie Highmore in the Spiderwick Chronicles because it's like, you're evil and terrible and a psycho, so that's hard to do. The sixth movie that I watched this month was another rewatch, and that was the live action Cinderella, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. So I literally watched this one like the night before I left for America, which is insane, and I haven't seen it since I saw it in the cinema. It's a fantastic movie. Lily James is the perfect Cinderella. In fact, that entire movie is cast perfectly. I really, really love that they gave such 3 dimensions to every single one of the characters, including the prince, because obviously in the original Cinderella, he is just kind of there. And I really love that he became 3-dimensional, and so did all the rest of the characters. I think they did a really good job at translating it into live action. Stuff like taking out all the songs and taking out the fact that the mice can talk. All that really did well to translate it into live action, and also to kind of make it a more modern feel for the movie. I really, really enjoyed it, and I thought they did a fantastic job. The 7th movie that I watched this month was Christopher Robin, and I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. I'm actually doing a full movie review of this one, so I'm not going to talk too much about my thoughts on it, but basically it was a fantastic film, made me really want to go back to the 100 Acre Wood, and I highly, highly recommend it for anybody who spent even a little bit of their childhood playing with a Winnie the Pooh. The 8th movie that I watched this month was Crazy Rich Asians, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars to. So I wasn't planning on seeing this movie at all. I had barely even heard of it. I literally knew nothing, and we had some time to kill and we wanted to go see a movie. We actually wanted to see The Darkest Minds, but it wasn't playing, so we went, all right, let's see this Crazy Rich Asians movie. And it's one of those moments where the movie was really, really good. Like it exceeded my expectations in the best possible way. It was funny, it was heartfelt, it had a really great plot, it had a really great message. Basically the fact that the entire cast was Asian was just incredible, and I really loved it, and I actually do highly recommend it to anyone, especially those of you who really enjoy rom-coms. Well, this is a different kind of take on the romantic comedy, and I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. And then the last movie that I watched this month was A Cowgirl Story, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars to. I've been desperately wanting to watch this movie for the longest time. It stars Bailey Madison. If you don't know, I really love pretty much every single film that she's in, and this one I think was my favorite character that she ever played. It's not my favorite film of hers, but it's my favorite character that she ever played. It had such this strong message of friendship and family, and it really went above and beyond to talk about the fact that there are people left behind when soldiers go overseas and they fight in wars. And I was not expecting it to be quite as emotional as it was. There was something that happened in it that just threw me off and just went, oh my god, I can't deal. And I thought they were going to end it a very different way than what they did, so I'm glad they ended it how they did. The only thing I can say is this film definitely had an agenda, and they weren't shy about showing it. And this agenda didn't really bother me, but I know it could bother some people. They had a really big emphasis on faith and on religion, and that doesn't bother me in the slightest, but I know that it can sometimes bother people when this film was like, it was shoving that agenda in your face, basically. So that's probably the only downside I have for it, but it was a really good film overall, and I really did love it. And there you go, those are all of the movies and TV shows that I watched in the month of August. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below if you have watched any of these films or TV shows. I would absolutely love to know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Stay random. Bye.